listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome to the GM Shuffle. The GM Shuffle is managed by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I am Geoff Schwartz, 8-year NFL vet. That is Marty Hurney, 30 years in the NFL front offices. And Marty, we had a weekend to behold in the National Football League. Still one game left. We have one game tonight between the Lions and Ravens. We preview that game in our B block. We'll go over our superlatives in the third segment, and then the fourth segment, we'll give you our best bet for the week, and we'll kind of finish, recapping all the games, Marty. But I want to start with what we saw. Do you call it the witching hour too, or are you a fan of this term? Do you know about this term?
No.
Okay.
Witching hour.
So, yeah. So you've been in the front office too long, Marty. You've not been like me, a regular Joe watching football on Sunday. So the witching hour, it's really 30 minutes. Okay. It's typically the end of the first block of games. I'm on the East Coast, and that's from 3:30 to 4. Okay. The witching 30 minutes, which is basically with all the madness around the National Football League happens. It's in that window. Typically, right, there's like 8 to 9 games early, or maybe 6 or 7 games early. They all end at the same time. One thing about the NFL that's unique to college football, there's many things, but one particularly is that almost all the games are close. They are.
Yes.
They're within 7 points of fourth quarter, almost all of them. Doesn't matter what the point spread is, they're going to be close. And within basically a 15-minute stretch yesterday, we had the most madness I've seen to end an NFL weekend in years. We had the Eagles were down, I believe it was 26 to 6, 25 to 6. So they were down considerably. They clawed back. And then they blocked a kick that would have put the Rams up 8. Okay. Eagles go down and score. The Rams come back, drive down the field, get in field goal range. Jordan Davis blocks a game-winning kick and then scoops and scores. Eagles actually win by 7 and cover the game. At the same time, the Browns are down 10-0, Marty. The game, they look shot. They look no chance at all to be in the game. The Packers have a couple of defensive penalties. The Browns kick a field goal. It's now 10-3. All the Packers have to do is run the clock out. They win an ugly game 10-3. The Packers defense, the Browns defense, we'll talk about superlatives later, outstanding in this game, Marty. They get an interception. Jordan Love throws interception, a bad pass. Another Packers penalty. The ball's at the goal line now. The Browns score 10-10. Then the Packers attempt a game-winning field goal. It gets blocked. Browns recover it. They get off a game-winning field goal. They win the game, 13-10. At the same time, the Jets are down 23-6, I believe was the score. And that was 23-13. And it was 26. Yeah, it was 26-13. And 26-20. Bucs are getting a field goal to make a 9-point game, Marty. It gets blocked. Return to the house. 27-26 Jets. Bucs come down eventually, kick a game-winning field goal. Marty, all that in the witching hour of 15 minutes, essentially. We call it witching hour, but the witching 15 minutes, that's what it is, Marty. It's a wildness of the NFL. It's why the NFL's king, buddy.
Geoff, let me tell you, John Fox would be twitching if he had the lead under 4 minutes and he was putting the ball in the air. And I think that's one of the biggest changes now with all the change in approach that we've seen. Offenses scoring points, going for it on 4th and 1 at their own 16. I mean, I think that it used to be you had the lead, you worked on it all training camp, 4-minute drill, run the ball. You have to run the ball when the other team knows you're going to have to run it. That's not the case anymore. It doesn't seem like. It seems like people are throwing the ball a lot more in the last stages of the game with the lead, and that what happens in Cleveland happens.
Yeah. So I have a couple of theories on this, on why that is, Marty. One is that field goal kicking now is so good that you can punt the ball back to someone, and within 5 or 6 plays, they're at the 40-yard line for a 57-yard field goal. So if you're only up 3, you might as well pass the ball, man, and get a first down, because you just running the ball 3 times and punting, which used to be the way teams would be okay doing it, doesn't really work anymore. Offenses are too good. They're getting down the field quickly enough, and they're getting the field goal range. And then I think, secondly, the quarterbacks now, I'm not saying that they're better now than they were before, but the passing game has evolved so much then I think they just feel more comfortable. Hey, man, we're paying you so much money. You go win the game for us. We're not putting this on our offensive line anymore. We're not putting this on the running back. And we're not going to allow, again, a 3-and-out and a punt just to give the ball back and lose. But, Marty, I want to talk quickly about something that there's a former offensive lineman just irked me a little bit with all these field goal blocks yesterday. Now, some of them, the one by the Browns was off the edge. I didn't play wing. I don't know what to tell you. Don't give up a block kick. A lot of them were up the middle, especially in Philadelphia. And as an offensive lineman, I actually think the best thing I did in my entire career was field goal protection. I'm 6'7", 335. I'm a giant human. My job was just to get lower than the defender and get as big as possible. Now, when I was doing it, I don't want to be like, the old guy in the room. They used to be able to take 2 defensive linemen. So let's say the Eagles, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, okay, and then put 2 linebackers behind those 2 guys and push them in the butt. And I had to anchor down and never got one kick blocked, not even close, quite honestly. And it frustrated me to see poor technique being used. I know Jalen Carter is good. I know Jordan Davis is good, and they're big. But the Rams just poor technique, Marty. As an offensive lineman, you have to get low. If I can do it, and it's so funny because special coaches did not like my stance. I just would get it. Like I would basically be like I'm playing for Army or Navy. I get a 3-point stance, weight forward, head down, and I just would brace. As soon as the ball snapped, I just brace that foot, get really low, get big, and let them go over me, right? Like in this situation, they picked up the Rams right guard and shoved him backwards. Most kicks are not going to be blocked at the line of scrimmage. They're very rarely going to be blocked when a guy just stands up at the line of scrimmage and puts his hands up. They do get blocked when you get penetration, right? When you get 2 or 3 yards closer and then put your hands up, right? So to me, it was, look, great job by the Eagles in that situation. But to me, I just saw very poor technique inside by the Rams.
There are special guys, though, Geoff. I remember we played at Tampa, and we were up by 6. Tampa scored on the last play of the game. I'm up in the press box. Tie it up. They're kicking the extra point. I say, shoot, let me get to the locker room. I go down, get on the elevator. Chris Jenkins blocked the extra point up the middle, very similar to yesterday, going to overtime, and we win the game. And, those things don't happen. But yesterday, you go back, and certain guys are just a lot harder to block. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. All I could think of when Jordan Davis was running down the field was Billy Bob, Billy Bob, Billy Bob, because I'm a Varsity Blues fan. And it was just, you could almost feel it coming, Geoff. They had done it before, and you just had it in the back of your mind that, man, that they're going to block this kick. And they did, and then he picks it up and runs for a touchdown and turns everything crazy. So I do think you're right. It's about technique, but I think there are certain guys that are just extremely hard to block in that situation. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, when you got 2 of those guys there, makes it even harder.
It does. And so the Eagles get a big win. I was on the Eagles minus 3.5, so I got pretty lucky there. Otherwise, a pretty miserable day. Unfortunately, not as bad as some guys that got hurt yesterday, Marty. And the storyline continues around the National Football League with some Week 3 injuries. We'll talk about a couple of them now, and then we'll get to some game recaps because these are important. So James Conner out for the season, it appears. Marty, the Arizona running back. During a game, you're sitting up in the box, I would imagine. When guys get hurt, what's the process like for you as a general manager? What do you start thinking about? What do you do immediately? How do you process it and sort of get ready for the next step?
Well, what happens, Geoff, is the trainer will give you a call when he's sure what happened, and sometimes they don't have the full answer, but most of the time they do. Most of the time they know. They'll always say, hey, we got to get an MRI tomorrow, but this is what we think it is. So if it's going to be something that will keep the guy out for a significant amount of time, you then get on the phone with your pro guy if he's not there at the game, and you say, listen, let's get a list of guys we need to bring in either for tryouts or to get on the phone now, because everybody's getting injuries on Sunday. So you want to get to the guys you want quickly because other teams get to them too. Everybody's doing the same thing. So it is important to act quickly on it when you get an idea of how long that player is going to be out. and then you just line it up for Monday, either tryouts or have the guy come in knowing that you're going to sign him if he passes the physical.
So there's no replacing some of the guys that are injured. So, for example, Nick Bosa, it appears it's not going to be an ACL, but they're going to figure it out via MRI. They know, via stress test on the knee, whether or not it's good or bad. But the knee imaging, as you mentioned, Mike Evans hamstring, CeeDee Lamb hurt his ankle. The Cowboys, Marty. CeeDee Lamb got hurt because they put him at running back and ran a play with him at running back. They have running backs on the roster. That's their job, to play running back. CeeDee Lamb's job is not to get tackled by Noah Sewell, at the line of scrimmage. That's going to end up in an injury. It's what happened. He went to stiff arm Noah Sewell, and as Noah fell, he lands on his ankle. I know the Sewell family. I wouldn't want to be tackled by Noah Sewell, especially from a wide receiver. And so, look, I think running back is more easily replaceable. But what about a CeeDee Lamb, a Mike Evans, a Bosa? Is it replaced by the sum of the parts? You're just not going to find a one-for-one replacement.
No, and even if they can come back and play, Geoff, can they come back and play at 100% or play the way they would if they're not hurt? And sometimes that's even worse. If a guy goes out there and really can't be himself, then, sitting out and having other guys take his spot. But, it's hard for those things. Listen, if the Cowboys won the game, if everything was going well for them, they gave it to CeeDee Lamb. He doesn't get hurt. We got no problems with it. But because they're struggling, because he gets hurt on the play, obviously that's what you do. You kind of second guess, and it's like when things don't go right, and that's where the Cowboys are right now. That was a bad loss for them.
It was a bad loss for them, and good for the Bears, and they got back on track. And look, we'll take a little time maybe at the end of the show to talk about what something that you had brought up. The 2024 quarterback class, and sort of seeing where these guys are. Now, Caleb Williams making some moves, playing a little bit better. But coming up next, we're going to talk some Monday Night Football. We'll talk about the notable games of Sunday. We'll do all that next on the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome back to the GM Shuffle. Geoff Schwartz, Marty Hurney. Let's get right into it, Marty. Monday Night Football. The Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are 4.5-point spread, and it's a 53.5 points. That's a very high total. Yesterday, we saw the highest total of the day was the Cowboys and Bears to knock it over. One thing to note about this game, Marty, as we start out, is Lamar Jackson's 24-4 against the NFC in his lifetime. And before they went to a 17-game schedule, you played every NFC team once every 4 years, right?
Right.
And so if you had not seen Lamar Jackson play every year, I'd imagine it's pretty difficult to face him. His athletic ability and windows on the field is unlike anyone else in this league. The Ravens offense, now they do less of what I would call sort of the RPO-ish world than they used to do, but a lot of their run game design is unique, right? They're running a lot of those sort of same side RPO, the GTs, things like you just don't see a lot in the NFL. And then here comes Derrick Henry right at you, right? Here comes the play action pass. And so the record makes a lot of sense because of that. I think that's why they're so good in the preseason too, by the way. You just don't see their offense ever. You don't prepare for that offense. And so I lean Baltimore here. Jared Goff has done better outside over the years, but just historically has not been as good outside. The Lions are off a big win. I think Baltimore, with, again, Lamar's ability to basically, I think, do what he wants to the Lions defense, makes me feel like the Ravens are the side in this one.
Yeah, I like the Ravens as well. This is the best Ravens team I've seen in recent memory, Geoff. I just listen. Detroit did a heck of a job. They're coming off a huge win against Chicago, but this is a different team, Baltimore, and it's in Baltimore. That when you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson who can be a threat outside, inside, wherever you want, and then you have Derrick Henry, I just think it's very difficult to defend a running game with that inside-outside threat. And the Ravens are I don't know whether they really have a significant weakness, Geoff. They went up, lost that opener in Buffalo, which, they were dominated pretty much the whole game. They dominated the game and lost at the end. But I just think that this is going to be – I'm so excited to watch this game, Geoff, because it's going to be a physical, hard-nosed game. I mean, these two teams, it's going to be a street fight. There ain't going to be no going for it 4th and 1 on your own 16. I can tell you that. These coaches aren't going to do that. They are going to win the game on the field with physical play. I'm just really excited. I think this is the game I'm most excited about in the first 3 weeks to watch.
So you mentioned that twice now. Did that bother you when Vrabel went for it?
I've been twitching for 2 weeks. You can't listen. There's a reason. I mean, I was with John Fox for 10 years, right? And
there'll be no
we
chance.
went to, when we hired him the first year, as soon as we hired him, we actually went to the Raiders-Bucks Super Bowl in San Diego before he even coached the game. And we were sitting in the stands with our wives, and I think it was the Raiders were up, right? And they had like a 10-point lead with 10 minutes in the third quarter. My shoulder was so sore because he was hitting it the whole second half saying, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. I mean, it's just a different game now. And I'm not saying, that my way would work, because it won't. But I like physical play. I like running the ball. I think running backs, I loved watching Cam Scatterboot last night. I think running backs just set the tone. They get the offensive line excited. You love to run the ball, right? Offensive linemen love running the football.
Yeah. Oh, well, just to report, the Patriots just fumbled again. Their 6th fumble just happened right now. They did it again. That the Patriots, they were so sloppy yesterday. Jeez, it was bad. But let's one note about just a gambling related thing for this game. So you can't do this now, but Derrick Henry's going to – one thing about the Ravens, and it didn't work out obviously in the first game, but Derrick Henry has changed the way they're able to close games because his ability to just continue to rush well. And I think they will break the Lions defense. There's no you can't find on DraftKings a 4th quarter rushing prop for Derrick Henry. But I do think at some point in the third quarter, maybe halftime, I would look to take his rushing yardage over. I think he's going to break some runs late in this game and sort of put it away for the Ravens. So something just to note today when you look at this game. We spent probably 35 seconds too long on the Patriots there in the middle of the second, Marty. So let's cleanse our palate with some 3-0 teams that have impressed us. Look, I thought the Colts would stink this season. I'll be quite honest, Marty. They're 3-0 though. They're throwing egg on my face, just like throwing egg on everyone else. Daniel Jones has been outstanding, going for over 800 yards so far. Very under control. Now, they have beaten the Broncos, who we think are good, but the Broncos are 1-2. They beat the 0-3 Texans, and they beat the 0-3 Dolphins. I mean, Titans, I should say. Texans are 0-3, by the way. What do you make of their fast start? Is this really sustainable, Marty, throughout the season?
I think it is, Geoff. Obviously, their schedule's gonna get tougher. Their opponents that they beat are 1-8. Although Denver's lost 2 games back-to-back weeks, so on the last play of the game, they could easily be 3-0. But I think they're gonna be sustainable because they're scoring points. 3 games, Geoff, they scored 103 points. That's the most in Colts franchise history since 1967. And they had a guy named Peyton Manning play there for 14 years. So that's pretty impressive. Daniel Jones rushed for 3 touchdowns. Has thrown for 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor is the total scrimmage leader after 3 games in the NFL. So they're going to score points. And I think when you can score points, especially in this day and age, you're always going to have a chance.
Yeah. And I think they're doing it with just smart football too. Look, when Jonathan Taylor is running as well as he is, it allows Daniel Jones to essentially not have to be the load of the offense. And that's what I think is really what's helping them out right now, is that they're very multidimensional. And Tyler Warren, man, has come in and done a fantastic job. No surprise, when you watch him at Penn State, what he was able to do there, he's able to do that now and help Daniel Jones out so much. So the call, I was actually, look, I was surprised Loveland went before him. I get for the Bears offense why Loveland makes more sense. But Warren is the better player. We're seeing it so far this season. The other team, Marty, that I'm not willing to go so far as to say like Super Bowl, but the Chargers are playing at a level that I didn't think was possible because of one thing. And this is the most impressive thing Harbaugh has done. So, there's a term that we use for different teams, but we use for the Chargers called chargering, right, Marty? Chargering, where there are games that they should win and they don't. They're Charger, right? And the best thing Harbaugh has done is taken the chargering out of this franchise. Think about game 1, right? We talked about this already. 3rd and 15. If you don't convert that play, the Chiefs probably win that game. Herbert makes that play, right? Even other points in that game. Look at this past game. Denver outplayed them for most of the second half. They stuck with it. They got stops there. Denver was not able to put the ball in the end zone. They made enough plays, and boom, Herbert has that incredible touchdown pass, and they win the game. These are games they've lost in the past, and now they're winning because of what Jim Harbaugh has instilled in this team.
And they're a very complete team, Geoff. They're a balanced team. The one thing that worries me right now is they're starting to get nicked up a little bit, losing Khalil Mack last week and then Najee Harris last night. So the injuries are starting to come. Their offensive line, I think, is held up well despite losing Slater. So I do think that they're one of the most complete teams in this league. They have a toughness that Jim Harbaugh brought, and now Justin Herbert has had enough years to mature. You could argue he's definitely one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the league.
I think he was 5 heading in this season, I feel like the top 4 is pretty settled, right? It's a combination of Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar. I think a lot of us had Jane Daniels 5. It feels like Herbert's pretty much 5 now, with no questions about it. Another 3-0 team is the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 3-0 now after that win against the Rams. Wild game, man. The Rams come out and just smoke them early, and then just sort of turtle up and not able to do very much. What do you think Sirianni said at halftime to the group? Because that team came out possessed the second half of that game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's real easy, Geoff. I mean, they're just saying, listen, play like we can play, and we'll get right back into the game. I mean, they have won enough games. It's interesting, Geoff, when you win, and, they were obviously 2-0 going into that game, but bad things can happen, and this. Bad things can happen, but when you're winning, you still have the confidence that you can overcome that. I thought it was interesting last night in the first half. Chiefs are 0-2, things aren't going right, and you can just feel there's a confidence thing. They're just searching for something. They come out in the second half, they find it, and they win the game. But I think that the Eagles just have had so much success in recent years and coming off the Super Bowl win that they don't get flustered by being down, especially at home at halftime. So they came out and played like the team that we know they are.
One thing I noticed, and I commented this during the game, you can follow me at Geoff Schwartz on social media, is that the Rams own the line of scrimmage in the first half. In the second half, they didn't. And the Eagles were able to just rally around that, right? Because the first half, they were pushed around on both sides of the ball. Lane Johnson being out was missed. It was apparent that he was missed. And it just made a big difference that whatever that mindset was, they were able to flip the switch the second half and win that game because they won the line of scrimmage. And that obviously
we talked last week about A.J. Brown.
Big game.
He to me made the play of the game. One of the best plays I saw over the weekend, that and Justin Herbert's throw for a touchdown to tie the game last night. But Eagles have the ball 3rd and 10 at their own 10-yard line. A.J. Brown comes back and makes a catch on a ball, a hands catch that, his hands were so strong, and then he breaks a tackle, he runs to the 40-yard line. that basically ignited the touchdown drive. But, man, that was an incredible play.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Back on the GM Shuffle, Geoff Schwartz, Marty, Hurney. We got a lot of recapping to do, and then at the end of the show, we'll give you our best bets for the week. I have one for Sunday. Marty has one for Thursday, and we'll give you our final thoughts on the Monday Night Football game as well. Let's get back to some NFL football recaps here, Marty. So the late game was the Chiefs and Giants, and the Chiefs offense showed a little life in the second half there. Thornton was a big part of that. They came out of the half and were able to get a nice little drive going. They ran the ball under center twice in a row for like 20 yards, and they just didn't do it again. I was disappointed in that, Marty, but we saw something go in there. Do we expect, I guess the best way to put this is like, do we expect this to continue, right? Thornton looked like he's always had talent. There was some connection was there. And my thing with the Chiefs has always been, I've talked about this for weeks now, is when they get their wide receivers back, they're going to be different. If Thornton can play this way and Worthy comes back, do you have more hope for what the Chiefs can be offensively?
Sure you do. But I think they showed in the second half last night, they started getting back a little bit, Geoff. And I thought about you in the second half several times because they were running the football on first and second down and putting Patrick Mahomes into 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, so he can throw to Travis Kelce or Noah Gray as tight ends. Just open up things more. Didn't have to always look for the big play. And I think that's really what jump-started them.
Yeah.
I thought the Giants mismanaged things in the first half. Anytime a team comes, kicks a field goal at the end of the half like the Chiefs did to go up 9-6, you could feel the momentum had switched to their side. They went in the locker room. They wanted to Andy Reid again. You could sense some frustration with the Chiefs in the first half. They went in that field goal game, a little confidence going in.
Yeah.
I think they came out and they just said, listen, this is what we're going to do. And I really think the key to the game was getting into shorter third down, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4.
Well, they took advantage of a lot of man coverage there in the beginning of that second half. They went 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. You mentioned Noah Gray, Travis Kelce, just one-on-one with linebackers. I'm not sure I'd play man coverage against the Chiefs at the moment because that's really the only way they can win, right? They with their weapons, they're not going to win a lot in zone coverage. It's not the type of wide receivers they have at the moment. What'd you make of the big red and Travis Kelce interaction there at the end of the first half? I loved it. There are ways to motivate players. Sometimes it's getting in their face. I don't know what Travis said. There seems to be a little bit, look, Travis, I don't know what's going on right now. He just seems a little bit off. There was another time when he ran a wrong route and Mahomes was like, bro, you're supposed to be here. Like, what are we doing? That seemed to wake everyone up. And I loved it because I think Andy Reid knows exactly how to motivate players. And maybe Andy Reid needed that as well. He needed a little bit of someone to yell in his face.
Yeah, he said in the end of the first half going in the locker room, he said, we're competing. Nothing's wrong with that. And I really do think Andy Reid knows exactly how to do it. Listen, this isn't the first time they've exchanged words like that. They're both very competitive people. And I think that you can see the competitiveness in the Jets and the confidence, in the Chiefs, in the confidence in them. And I'm with you. I thought that was a really good thing.
It was great. Lastly here, how many weeks does Russell Wilson have left, Marty? They play the Chargers this week. It feels like either this week or next week, Jackson Dart will be the starting quarterback. Why run this back out with Russell Wilson? What's the point?
Yeah, Geoff, I tell you what concerned me is there was just a lack of energy to the Giants last night, I thought. The only thing that brought energy, the only guy that brought energy was Cam Scatterboo. And how you can't get fired up when that guy carries the ball and, does his little John Reagan's impression. But it didn't seem, and again, when people say energy, I say confidence, right? And the Giants do not have a lot of confidence right now.
No, they don't. And to be fair, that stadium doesn't really exude confidence. It's kind of a dead environment there. It's no one's fault exactly. It's just sort of the way it is. There are a lot of Chiefs fans there as well. And players, they take some cues off the crowd, and very Chiefs heavy crowd there. So I understand the lack of juice. I think Jackson Dart will bring that to them, and I think he will play very soon. If you like what you're hearing here in the GM Shuffle, there's even more at VSiN Pro. Betting splits, power ratings, and sharp analysis, all for just $9.99 your first month. Go to vsin.com/subscribe and check out all these subscription options. Marty, let's get into our superlatives for the week here. Best game. We already hit on Rams, Eagles, and Broncos, Chargers. So let's take a stab at Jets, Bucks. What'd you like about this game?
Jets were done, right? I mean, I flipped other games and I just kept thinking, watching that game, how good Baker Mayfield is again. I love guys who are contagious and make everybody around them better. And the way Baker Mayfield approaches games and the way he did yesterday, Geoff, he's getting hit a lot, okay? Goes down, actually hurt his right hand a little bit, came up, squeezing it. But anytime, and for 3 weeks, when they need a play, they go to Baker Mayfield. I officially yesterday put him in my win because quarterbacks because he really does. He can win a game for you out of sure will and determination, but he's got a great feel in the pocket. He's got good mobility, and I just thought he was excellent yesterday. And then the things you talked about as far as special teams and defense brought the Jets back. I thought they were going to win the game late. But again, Baker Mayfield, they did a great job of kicking a field goal, winning the game. And that's how you win games in this league. As you said earlier, they're all close. So you have to win the close games.
We need to have some sort of graphic or sound when you move a quarterback from a list to another list, Marty. Like we need to have like a big, like something that like a big old sound that lets everyone know Marty's moved a quarterback up a tier or down a tier. Maybe we can work on that in the future. Look, this to me was a perfect result for the Jets. I've said all along this season, Marty, I think that playing hard and losing close games is the best opportunity for them for success because then they'll have a high draft pick next year, be able to draft the best quarterback they can. I'm still concerned about the defense, though. Aaron Glenn's a defensive coach. Defense is still not good, Marty. No. I'm concerned about that, but obviously did enough with Taylor there to make it a very interesting game. Best quarterback of the day. We've talked about a couple of these guys already, but Justin Herbert and Baker Mayfield were fabulous. Justin Herbert, man, the maturity in his game we've seen just so far this season. I really think it really stands from Harbaugh essentially telling him this offseason that you're the guy now. We want the offense to go through you, and he showed it yesterday.
They have confidence in him. I think I heard somewhere that, they said that the Chargers think Justin Herbert is the best quarterback in the league, and he's certainly playing like that. Geoff, that touchdown pass he threw to tie the game 2020, I mean, I don't react a lot watching games, but when I go, wow, that means that was a heck of a play, and he made a heck of a play there. Yeah. He is, again, they're balanced. They can run the football. Yeah. He's got weapons. He's got a good defense. You just get the feeling that if this isn't the Chargers' year, will they have one?
It's a good point. Best defense. I'm going to skip down here one. Give a shout out to the Cleveland Browns, man. That defense, Marty, yesterday was fabulous. What do you notice from their performance?
Wow, I just think that you've seen it for 3 weeks now, right? They came in number one yesterday as the number one defense. And again, they're just a physical, well-balanced defense. I don't know how there's not really a weak point there. And to come in and stop the Packers like they did, Geoff, I mean, the Packers are a really good offense, a really good team. And they kept the Browns in it until late where they could pull out the little magic. And but I just think they're physical, they're fast, they pressure the quarterback, and they have a good secondary. I mean, it's I don't know whether you can really pick a weak spot on that defense.
I don't think you can either. They kept them in the game, obviously. I thought the Packers were going through the motions as well. Not a great performance for that Green Bay offense, Marty.
John said the other team gets paid too, Geoff.
Oh, I know. They do, except the defensive linemen. We should pay none of those guys. Who cares about them? Let's get to some teams in trouble because I want to talk about the Texans, Marty. Their offense is officially really worrisome. And I understand that the offensive line is not great, but that doesn't really. Sure. I mean, the Bengals offensive line stinks too, right? Like you can still move the ball with a bad offensive line. To me, this falls on Stroud. I don't see anything in his game that resembles what we saw in year one. I don't see the confident player. I don't see a fast decision maker. Obviously, it does not help with any run game, but I don't see a confident offense right now. They're not even calling play. A lot of quick passes yesterday, a lot of just sort of meh concepts. What are you seeing from Houston? It really worries me.
Yeah, I don't think they have any balance in that offense at all, Geoff. I mean, I still think I know we're in the throwing age and you have to be able to run the ball at some point, don't you? And I just think that I don't know. I had CJ Stroud. It was funny because I'll be honest, Geoff, CJ Stroud surprised me his rookie season, right? I didn't think he was gonna be that quarterback when he came out, and he was. And now everybody says, well, they were talking about the sophomore jinx and all that. But this year, I just their offense just isn't very good, and I think their defense gives them some chances. But and I love D'Amico Ryans as a head coach. I think they come out with a tough physical mindset. But I just I don't think there's anything that scares you from the Texans offense.
I don't think it does either. It does surprise me. The other team that's worth bringing up here very quickly is the Dallas Cowboys. Yikes. Their defense, buddy, is bad. It is very bad. What do they do to get it better the rest of the season, if anything?
I don't know. I kept watching that. Did we see the coming out party for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams? They're hitting them on flea flickers, and I thought Ben Johnson really rolled out his offense. This is the best the Bears have looked offensively. Cowboys just you just feel like they're a team without a plan, Geoff. I mean, they're just going a lot of directions. I think they're going to have it's going to be a long season, I think, for Dallas.
I think it is as well. And you mentioned Caleb Williams, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the 2024 quarterback class. You mentioned it, Marty, before the season about sort of judging these guys. We have 3 weeks now. Maybe we want to wait one more, but we have a good data point now for these guys. We'll talk about where we see the 2024 class next on the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome back to the GM Shuffle. In a couple of minutes, we'll give you our best bet for the week ahead. We'll also touch very quickly again on Monday Night Football. But Marty, one topic that has really interested me is this 2024 quarterback class, right? There was a lot expected of this group into year two. So that's Jaden Daniels, right? That it's Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and I'm missing Michael Penix, right? Michael Penix. And
Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy.
It's not been great so far, Marty, this season. And actually, I kind of want to start with, I think the guy who's playing the best is Caleb Williams right now. Look, we talked about the growth that he could potentially show. And Marty, I judge growth in quarters, essentially, right? Like first quarter, second quarter, but even just week to week. Every week, Marty, Caleb Williams has gotten better. I think we're seeing the maturity of playing with Ben Johnson start to show itself.
Geoff, when I went and saw him 2 and 3 years ago, I came away thinking, this guy's the next generational quarterback. This guy is as talented a guy as I've seen for a lot of years. And I do think that you can see him growing with Ben Johnson the first 3 games. And yesterday was the most in rhythm game that they've had together. Listen, Ben Johnson's a tremendous play caller. And in order for you to be a great quarterback in this league, you better have a good offensive coordinator, and they better have continuity with the offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams has changed now. I think he's got the right guy. Very talented. You could just tell a comfort level with him yesterday that you hadn't quite seen in the first 2 games. I expect it to only improve. Again, the Bears are a team that now you have to consider every week because, listen, there's going to be some down games, but I think you can expect it just to improve pretty much as the season grows.
I think it's unfair to judge Jayden Daniels. He's played 2 games. Like that is what it is. I think it's, he didn't play last week. It's too early to really say about him. I think he's going to be fine, but hopefully comes back healthy. Drake May. So unfortunately, I've watched a lot of Patriots because I've wagered on them, and I actually think he's playing well. He just has to understand that you can't drop your eyes down in the pocket and try to scramble and then reappear and throw the ball. Like, you either have to get rid of the ball or scramble immediately. Like, you're not good enough as an athlete to make that happen. But look, again, the fumble aside was bad yesterday. 28 of 37, 268. He has no wide receiving weapons that are any good. I actually think he's playing okay, Marty. What have you seen from Drake May so far?
I agree with you, Geoff. I think that he is a perfect fit with Mike Vrabel, and he's going to, he's a big mobile quarterback who I saw him, made a first down with his feet yesterday. He just doesn't have a lot around him right now. The Patriots are rebuilding their talent. I do think they're going to get there in a year or two, but it's going to take a year or two to get there. I think he is going to have time to improve. He needs a balanced offense, right? He needs weapons around him, but he's big, he's physical, he can run, he's got a lot of arm talent. I don't see a reason that he's not going to be successful in this league.
I'm with you there. I think eventually when they get the parts around him and stop turning the ball over, 5 turnovers, 2 turnovers going in the end zone yesterday. Yikes, man! We had a rough film session to watch. Bo Nix with the Broncos. Look, I'm an Oregon guy. I root for Bo Nix, but Marty, I gotta see more, man. There were 3 opportunities yesterday with guys open for touchdowns on deep balls that he should be able to connect with. Now, one, I think Sutton did get bumped on the way down the field, but still, Marty, like, those are plays. One was a go route. One was basically a seam route against cover 2 in the red zone. Teams play a lot of 2 high and they're really quarters look in the red zone. There's an opportunity to bend that in a little bit. Like, you got to make those plays when they're there. And then the one I mentioned was Sutton deep. He threw the ball really high. Sutton got a little bumped a little bit maybe, but still, one of the 3. I would take in one of the 3, Marty. Yep. Specifically the 2 that would have scored. I think the limitations are there, Marty. I just think this is what Bo Nix is, and it's not good enough to win championships in Denver like this.
I agree. I see the limitations. And again, those 3 plays you're talking about came in key spots. I'm just amazed at Sean Payton's ability to get guys running scot-free, Geoff, and on key downs, on key situations. You got to hit at least one of them. You should hit all 3 of them, really, because they're wide open. But I agree that, even coming out, he does have some limitations. How good can Sean Payton make him? We'll see. But I think that it's going to take time, right? And the best chance he has is where he is with one of the best coaches, play callers in the league.
Yeah, I think that he hits some of those, he'll be fine. Next up is Michael Penix. Now, look, this is his first season as a full-time starter, Marty, but yesterday was bad. It was bad. And he threw a pick 6, he threw another 7. I think, I just saw this too. This can't be true. He's 0-4 when opponents score more than 7 points. That can't be the truth, but maybe it is. The problem he had at Washington is showing up now, which is he doesn't really throw the ball in the middle of the field, Marty. It's all outside the numbers or outside the hash marks, and the Panthers are ready for that. And I don't know if we're going to see much. He just didn't do it at Washington. Why would he start doing it now? I'm concerned about his ability to be a franchise quarterback if he can't improve this.
I agree. Of the 6 quarterbacks in the 24 class, he and Nix were the 2 lowest grades of mine, but all first round grades. But inconsistency, Geoff. He just, decision-making wise, accuracy wise, I just think that he needs to get more consistent. I didn't see that at Washington. I did see the inconsistencies at Washington that we've seen here in the NFL. I agree with you. I need to see more. The Falcons have been a disappointing team to me. I thought they would challenge the Bucs in the South. they're not going to do that, I don't think.
No, the Bucks are 3-0. No, the Panthers. I thought the Panthers would be second division. So right now there's a big jumble up there because the Saints are just they're very bad. There's one more quarterback of the class I think I'm missing. We hit all of them, right? Caleb Williams, Jane Daniels, no, JJ McCarthy, who's obviously not playing right now, and Carson Wentz did good enough. Obviously, the Bengals just aren't going to be very good. So that is what it is.
Kevin O'Connell, though, what more can you say about him? I mean, awesome. He's just, it's incredible what he does as far as getting Sam Darnold ready. And Sam Darnold comes out with a 154 quarterback rating yesterday for Seattle. But, to have Carson Wentz come in and play like that, obviously got huge help from Brian Flores' defense and Isaiah Rodgers. But, I am so impressed with the way Kevin O'Connell coaches week in and week out.
Isaiah Rodgers, by the way, 2 touchdowns yesterday, pick 6 and a fumble that he forced and recovered for a touchdown. So that's obviously incredible.
And then I think he forced another one that they recovered, just didn't score on it.
Oh, did he really? Oh, I didn't even see that. He had a great day. Carson Wentz, by the way, 14 of 20. 173, 2 touchdowns. Just a very clean day. Jefferson, 5 catches, 75. Hawkinson, 49 yards and a touchdown. Just a very clean day from Carson Wentz. All right, Marty, let's get to our best bets presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Now, these are going to focus mostly on what's coming up this week. You have a wager you like for Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I obviously depending on the injury report, but I like Seattle. Getting the 1.5 at Arizona Thursday night. The Cardinals, really, I can't get my hands around them, Geoff. I have a hard time figuring them out, but they had all the chances in the world to win yesterday at San Francisco. And again, we talked about great coaches, Mike Shanahan. I mean, look what he's done in the first 3 weeks, and he's got injuries and quarterback issues, and he just finds a way to win. But I think that Seattle played extremely well yesterday. I had hoped they would, but I just think that the Cardinals are going to have a hard time scoring points, I think, against Seattle. I think Seattle's a more physical team. I think they're more of a team that will not beat themselves. The Cardinals do beat themselves quite a bit. I like Seattle, even though they're on the road on a Thursday night, which I almost never do. I just like them against Arizona.
Arizona obviously figuring out life without James Conner. Tough loss, 16-15. The Niners just play the Cardinals weird every year. So I don't know what to take from that game. My game
James
right
Conner
now
is a huge loss for Arizona, Geoff, right? Huge loss.
He's a huge loss for Arizona. He's done a really good job out in the desert there. My game, Marty, and this is just like square as it comes. I do not care. The Chargers are going to go to MetLife Stadium, and they're going to throttle the Giants on Sunday. Let me give you a couple reasons why. One is that their game travels, right? Their game, the way they play, physicality travels. Now, I do a little concerned about Joe Alt, left tackle, exposed a little bit yesterday on some of the speed rushes with Benito. But look, give him a chip, help out a little bit. The Giants defensive line played really well against the Chiefs. Like, they're good, obviously, we know. But get the ball quickly, make plays. More than anything else, Marty, this is a situation, right? Like, MetLife Stadium, is going to be a morgue on Sunday, and there are going to be a lot of boo birds out very quickly if the Giants offense struggles. The Giants offense, by the way, has scored 9 points against Kansas City and 6 in game 1 against real defenses, and then scored a bunch against the Cowboys who stink on defense. So the Chargers are good. I think the Chargers go into MetLife Stadium and throttle them, and it's going to be Joe's versus pros game. Everyone will be on the Giants +6. I'm not, Marty. I can't do it. I'll let the Chargers go in there and steamroll them.
I agree with you. You just, sometimes when it looks too easy, you get scared, right? But, I mean, you make all the sense in the world. The only thing the Giants really have that scared you is their pass rush at this point. And getting to Justin Herbert.
It's a great pass rush. It's a great pass rush, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, but that doesn't
That's
really
all they got.
Not going to win your game if you can't score at all on offense. All right, That's it for our Monday episode, guys. As usual, we drop shows on Monday and on Thursdays. Make sure to find us on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform of choice. We love when you guys leave us a review, a comment. All those things really help grow the podcast. Enjoy the game tonight. We're back to you Thursday to preview all the NFL action for Week 4. Take care, everyone.